Glad to be home.
Go ahead, folks.
How do you think that trip, how would you sort of summarize the trip and kind of, I guess from the outside, what expected you beat Seton Hall, you lose to Ohio State?
I thought it was a positive trip for us, traveling across the country, playing against a Big East school, playing against the number 4, now number 3 team in the country. Were two really good games, kind of to measure where we're at right now. And I thought we did a pretty good job for the most part. I thought some areas we needed to improve upon before we left to go out there were, boxing out and keeping people in front of us, ball screen defense. 2 of the 3 I thought we made a lot of progress in. Ball screen defense, we still have to get better at that. Against Seton Hall, there were no more than 2 of their players that penetrated to the basket in terms of beating our guys off the dribble. Ohio State, it was more in the ball screens when they beat us off the dribble. So I thought we made strides in that area. We still need to get better at it, and I think it'll help our defense. I think offensively, you got to be out there to play against that Ohio State team. Defensively, they're physical, they have size, and they did a good job defensively. But yet, I thought we got great shots. We shot 48% from the field, and I think it's something that we can build upon.
How do you feel about your record thus far?
Our record?
Yeah, are you disappointed, or what's your view?
Obviously we'd like to have the Albany game back. When you're playing at home like that, you definitely would like to have that game back. But aside from that, I think we've done fine. Sure, we'd like to be undefeated.
When you were talking about changing up the offense a little bit, you talked about how it's not going to take away your ability to roam when you go to the high post. Are you guys running as much? You didn't get any fast break points in the Ohio State game. Are you guys running enough? Or?
When you talk about the Ohio State game, I just challenge you to watch every game that Ohio State plays. I think Ohio State is a low possession team, and they play the game in low possessions. And well, why didn't you run more? People say that. It's always interesting because, and you didn't say that, but you don't just run more. You have to impose your will on teams. And when we've been able to run is because we've pressured teams to a point where they've turned the ball over, they've taken quick shots, they've taken bad shots, awkward shots, and we're able to get going. Against a team like Ohio State, the ball is in Aaron Craft's hands the entire time. And going into that game, I remember it because it impressed me so much. He had played 71 minutes and had turned the ball over 2 times. At halftime, he had 4 assists and no turnovers. He played 20 minutes, so that was 91 minutes with 2 turnovers. He finally turned it over in the second half, but then, there are more minutes, and then he had 3 turnovers and 100 plus minutes. That's phenomenal. And they've played against different teams, not just us. When they're taking care of the ball like that, and they're very, very methodical in their offense, it's hard to turn them over. That's one of the reasons they're such a good team. It's hard to create turnovers. And then you're not going to come down and just get an easy shot against them. You have to work the ball. And I thought we had good shots, but we had to work for those shots. So they make you play a low possession game. And that had something to do with why there were low possessions in that game. I think we're playing, I think we're still playing fast. I just think we need to do a better job of stopping teams on the defensive end, which would allow us to play a little quicker.
In the past 2 games, you've shortened the rotation by 2 players. Was that because you saw something in practice, or you just need to play more guys, more minutes, and play fewer guys?
I thought the guys that were playing were doing a good job, and we just went with those guys. Those guys, the Seton Hall game, Desmond Simmons was having such a good game. 14 points, 12 rebounds. Just didn't want to take him out, especially in the second half when they made their run. And we just went with those guys for longer periods of time.
Because you are playing essentially 7 players.
In those 2 games.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Are you able to play the type of defense, that frenetic type of defense that you had in the past, to get the turnovers, to get more of an up-tempo game?
We were up 16 against Seton Hall. Did we have 49 points at halftime? Something like that? I thought we did a pretty good job of it. Now, we didn't sustain it in the second half, and that may have had something to do with it. But, we tried to rotate guys in the first half. But that Seton Hall game was pretty close to how we want to play, and we saw the results of that. The Ohio State game was different. It was just an entirely different game. But we'll play more than 7 come Saturday. I don't think we've ever just played 7.
You said you thought you got good shots against Ohio State, and Dad Mata said that he thought you had your way with them at times offensively. So where does that leave your team's understanding the high post offense and their ability to execute what encounter the way you would want them to?
We still have a ways to go because there are several times in that game where I think there were 2 or 3 times at the most where the shot clock went down below 10, about 8, 7, 6. Just a couple of times. A couple of those times is just we forgot where we were supposed to go offensively. We're still not just free-flowing in it, playing in it. We're still thinking a little too much in it. When we get to a point where we're just free-flowing it, passing the ball, taking advantage of our opportunities, making the offense work for us, then we'll be much more pleased. But we're not there right now. I thought we had about eight opportunities from point-blank range that, we capitalized on half of the point-blank range ones. That might have made that game a little different. And I don't just mean missed shot, the shot itself, but maybe a block shot here or there, or maybe we mishandled the ball. We had some good opportunities around the rim that we didn't capitalize on.
Do you think you found something with Andrew on the ball screen? You ran quite a few ball screens late for him. He was coming back around the wing. Is that something that you think he can continue to do, and he can kind of exploit things out of that?
That's just one of the options in the offense that each game presents its own challenge, and each team will play you a different way. And what we always have to try to do is say, okay, how are they defending us? So what options within the offense do we want to concentrate on? And down the stretch there, that was one that maybe we thought we could take advantage of. And I think there were 3 straight possessions. We scored 2 of the 3. Well, I'm sorry. We had great opportunities in 2. I'm sorry again. We had great opportunities on all 3 occasions, but we weren't able to convert. Except when he got fouled, I think.
Yeah, Kraft fouled him.
Yeah.
Coach, is it ideal in the schedule to have games like that, and then be able to come home and have a few days where you can really work on the kind of the teachable moments?
I think it's great
Yeah.
because we're going to play some teams that are good, but I don't know how much better they're going to be than Ohio State. They may be better, but I don't know how much better. Seton Hall, I thought, was a good team when we played against them. They had guys that can score. The guy didn't show it that night because Aziz did such a phenomenal job, but their post player, Teague, he had 21 and 9 the next night. He's a load to guard in there. And to face those type of teams like that really show you where you are.
In this sort of next stretch of games here, you'll be facing teams that won't have a number 4 or 3 in front of them. So then will the challenge be to just sort of not overlook them, be focused, and not let an Albany game happen?
I certainly hope not, and let's hope we stay healthy too within this stretch, because that would definitely help. But again, I've been saying this before the season even started. When you talk about Colorado State, you talk about St. Louis, you talk about Reno, and even Cal State Fullerton, people say, oh yeah, snoring bore, blah, blah. Those teams are good. They're going to have respectable RPIs. They come out and they guard you. They are good basketball teams. They just don't have the high-profile names like an Ohio State. So we can't afford to overlook any of these teams. They're just too good.
Andrew, I think, is 4 for 18 from the field at this point. do you like the looks he's getting? And he's an ultra confident kid. Do you have any concern about his confidence at this point?
Never any concerns about Andrew's confidence. He's 4 for 18 today, but freshman, that'll change. He's not going to continue to shoot that poorly. That'll change.
So you like the looks he's getting for the most part?
Yeah, he's taken about 2 or 3 bad shots, I think, out of 18. The others, he's getting good looks. He's getting fouled quite a bit. He may be second on our team in free throw shooting attempts. I haven't checked, but I know he's up there. So that's a good thing.
Coach, how is the week going to go for you? I mean, we've gotten an idea from the football team how they're going to fit in kind of a Thanksgiving dinner before they leave, but how are you guys going to be able to celebrate Thanksgiving?
We'll go early in the morning on Thanksgiving, and then the rest of the evening, we have some kids that are from here, and whether it's my house or, Abdul Gaddy or Akeem Stewart, the guys live here, and they kind of are distributed to different houses around.
Like last year, the Mountain West, there were people who said it got up to maybe past the Pac-12. Is that conference, everything going to be, kind of given credit for, you think?
The Mountain West?
Mountain West, yeah. Teams like Colorado State, are they maybe better than, some people might think, that just think of the ACC and some of these conferences?
Yeah, like you said it. When you looked at them last year, New Mexico and San Diego State, UNLV, Colorado State, those teams are really good, and then they had a couple of others that were really competitive within that league, like a Wyoming, that didn't make the NCAA tournament. So it's a very competitive league.
Colorado State sub is pretty strong rebounding team. Is that an area of emphasis going into Saturday for you guys?
Well, it was an area of emphasis. It's been an area of emphasis, but even more after the Loyola Maryland game when we played. And I think our guys have responded. We got out rebounded by Ohio State, but aside from that, I think we've gotten better as a rebounded team.
Baseline inbounds plays were not very successful against Ohio State. What was going on there?
Ohio State did a very good job of. I'd like to follow their season and see what they do, how other teams inbound the ball against them. What they were doing was switching everything, but then they had a big guy in front of the ball to try to deny that. And we were fine in the first half. We got the ball in, scored once, got a 3-pointer. I think they scored once on their inbound plays. They scored 2 points, Deshaun Thomas. We scored once. We got a 3-pointer on our inbounds plays, but we turned it over a couple of times in the second half, and that length bothered us. Trying to get the ball over the top.
How would you evaluate CJ's performance so far this season?
He's been up and down in terms of his shot. He finished and rallied up in the second half against Ohio State, and I thought he had a great first game against Loyola Maryland. So just a matter of being consistent.
He's shooting around 40%, so is it just a matter of giving him more shots or better looks?
I think he's gotten shots. I think he's had some open shots. If you go back and look, you got to understand too now that he might be the number one guy on everybody's scouting report, that we cannot give him an open look. And I'm pretty confident saying all of our games we can go back and say he's done a good job of getting himself open. And again, I think his first game was very good. In his last game, he shot the ball good. So I don't think it's a problem for the entire start that we've had here.
What does he need to do if his shot is not falling? If he gets into a game and it's not there, does he keep shooting? Or
Yes, absolutely. He should always keep shooting. He should shoot until he's on, and then when he's on, shoot until he's off. And when he's off, shoot again until he's back on. Just keep shooting. Obviously, go to the basket if his shot's not falling. But, when we went on our foreign tour, he had some struggles from the outside, and he started to drive the ball, getting to the basket. So he's gotten better at doing that.
But you mentioned the screening and kind of having issues in the backcourt there on the defense. What, in general with the on-ball defending, how would you assess it in the first 4 games?
We've done a poor job of defending the on-ball. We'll do a much better job on Saturday, but we haven't done as good a job as we should have up to this point.
Is there some other keys other than just dealing with the screens? I mean, when it's just man on man and a guy gets past them, I mean, is there just some simple, is it just a mechanical thing, or?
We talked about, sometimes it's just not good execution. Sometimes we forget. How can you forget if you're practicing it every day? How can you forget? One of the things we talked about before the season started is there's 7 or 8 ways to guard a ball screen. Let's not try to do all 7 or 8 because it just gets confusing. I remember, maybe I've told you the story before, watching the USA basketball team practice, our Olympic team practice, and I watched them go 45 minutes guarding the on-ball and the different ways they would guard the on-ball. And I'm thinking the last thing they're going to have to worry about is defending the on-ball, because I'm sure they're doing this every day. Well, they played against Greece, I believe it was. I don't remember if it was the gold medal game or not, but Greece just scored time and time again on the on-ball. Well, sometimes if you do it so many different ways, one guy's thinking, we're going to do it this way. One guy's going to play it a certain way. The other guy thinks, no, we're playing it a different way. And it looks like you never worked on it ever before. So we try to not play it so many different ways. I think, I believe it was Albany, where we doubled the on-ball early and had some success. Then we got away from it, went regular. Things were fine. Then we tried to double it again. Then there was miscommunication. Sometimes we thought we were doubling it and we weren't, and it just makes it look like you're not guarding it at all. So in that game, I think that's why we had struggles with it. There were 3 or 4 times they scored on balls. It was just crucial times in the game with Albany. The last game, when we guarded it from the top, the flat on ball screen, Kraft scored, I believe, 3 times on it. And another time he missed a shot, but we didn't box out. The screener got the rebound. Those are the times that it hurt us. From that very top, we just have to do a better job of positioning ourselves, not let the guy go around us.
Was Aziz too high during those?
One time he was too high. Yeah, one time he was too high, and Kraft just turned on the Jets and went by. And then the second time he was in great position. It's just that we just got to keep working so that we can move our feet and keep the guard in front of us.
How's everyone's health and how is Kemp progressing?
Kemp is progressing good. Scott strained his arch, so he won't be practicing, but he should be fine for our game on Saturday.
Have you had a chance to scout Colorado State or not?
Just briefly.
Do you know much about them? Or?
They're good, and they have a 5-man that's really good. But this being Tuesday, not playing until Saturday, we don't present the scout to our team until Thursday, so we still have a lot of film to watch.
You're hoping to have Kemp back by what? By the start of Pac-12 or?
Definitely by the start of Pac-12.
And
Sometime in December.
And if he's back, he does what for you guys?
He gives us a player that can score down low. Aziz is averaging a double-double, so he's giving us something. But Sean's another body that can score. We probably have as much confidence in Sean if we throw him the ball that he's going to score as much as anybody on the team on the block. So, in a game like an Ohio State, I thought he probably could have done some damage a game like that.
And the thought process behind beginning the game with Scott Suggs on Thomas was what? Just a smaller guy.
When you watch Deshaun Thomas play, he spends a lot of time on the perimeter. Whether they're setting, he's picking and popping with ball screens, or they even run sets for him to come off of staggers and doubles to shoot threes. So we decided we were going to put a perimeter guy on that is used to guarding guys on the perimeter, but wasn't too effective. So we slowed him down a little bit. I think when Desmond Simmons began to guard him, and we got a feel for how he was out there, we did a better job in the second half than the first half.
It was like he kind of like Arizona State's old guy Richard
Kucic?
Yeah, it's like that where like you need a big man who could be able to run the perimeter like that.
Well, it definitely helps when you have one of the things we talk about. To this day, we'll talk about a recruit, say a four-man. And one of my first questions is, can he guard Kucic? Because we can't guard, and Kucic is Deshaun Thomas. He's that four-man that can step outside and make you pay. And if he can't, then maybe he's a five-man defensively. So you try to get guys like that can do it. And I think in time, Jannard Giroux will be able to do it. I think, if we had to do it again, we probably would have put Desmond on Deshaun for longer periods of time. The difference in Kucic, though, and Deshaun Thomas is Deshaun Thomas will take you onto the block. Kucic more was a drive and kick, spot-up shooter. Deshaun, he caught the ball a couple of times, and we defended him well. Scott defended him well. He's right there, put a hand in his face, but by then he had hit a couple, and he kind of was in a groove.
Coach, are you gonna get a chance to get to Walden on Friday?
I wish if we didn't play the next day, and I knew I could get back without any hassles, then I definitely would go to that game.
That being said, what are some of your favorite Apple Cup moments?
Probably best Apple Cup football moment would be when they thought in Pullman that they were going to take advantage of the little cornerback. Mike Bush was 6'5", and they were going to throw the ball up. And if he catches it, they probably win the game. But the little cornerback got 40-inch vertical and went up and intercepted Nate Robinson. That's probably my best memory.
You go over to Pullman for those much?
Pardon?
Do you go to many Apple Cup games over there?
I've never been to one. It seems like this situation occurs every year where I'm afraid I might not be able to get back, coming back over the pass or something. Just,
You couldn't get a flight? You couldn't get a seat on the charter?
I don't want to risk it. I just don't want to risk it. So that's the only reason I want to go there, and I want to go to Oregon to see a game there when we play there. Just wear some hockey gear or something and go over there.
Do you remember your reaction when Nate picked that pass off?
Yeah, I was sitting in my car. I was sitting in my car listening to the game. I think my wife was in the store shopping or something, or I was waiting on my daughter. I was sitting in the car listening to the game, and when I heard that he intercepted, I was fired up in the car by myself. No one heard me or saw me, I don't think, but I was fired up. I had a great alone moment right there with the Bob Rondo and the Huskies.
I know you haven't scouted specifically, maybe totally Colorado State. You said they have a good five. They've got a big man. Are those teams, is your team, the way your team's built, is that a good matchup for you when their best player, their go-to guy is 6'11", 7-foot guy, and you've got your two guys in the middle?
We really have a lot of confidence in Aziz's ability to defend his position. We really do. And, over the last 3 years, there have been a couple of games where their guy has got the best of us, but not a whole lot. He's a pretty good defender down there. But the guy from Colorado State is really good, though. So he has size also.
And have you had a chance to see much Pac-12 action and so your thoughts?
I haven't seen any except Arizona. I've got to see them, but I haven't seen any. I keep TiVoing these games, but don't have time to watch it.
And any thoughts on 3 Pac-12 teams being ranked now?
Awesome, and it may not be over. Before it's all said and done, we could have another one in there. So it's good to see at the outset, a little different than last year.
But
Yeah.
2-3, do you think you're gonna play more zone?
Yeah,
going
we will.
forward?
We will zone more.
Why do you think you'll do that more? What could be good about that?
I think it affords us to play different lineups. So we talk about the guy guarding the Kook 6 guy, but maybe we don't have the right guy to guard him. Well, if we go zone and we're good enough at it, which we weren't against Ohio State, it will allow us to do that. There's sometimes when teams just get on a roll. You know, Albany the other night, I mentioned we had to do over again, and our zone was a little better. Definitely would have gone. There are times in the past that we've gone zone. Times in the past we've gone zone, we weren't any good at it. We hardly practiced it because we were strictly man-to-man. If we wouldn't have gone zone, we wouldn't have won the game. So there are times when it helps us. So we need to be prepared, and we will be, to play more of it when need be.
I think you had 3 possessions of it maybe against Ohio State, and they scored on all 3.
They scored on all 3. Deshaun Thomas hit a 3. They went inside, drove, we cut them off, they dropped it off for a layup, and then they drove past us one time and we went to help, and they dropped it off to the baseline. Those are the 3 times that they scored.
So how do you fix all those things? It's just redundancy?
You're not supposed to, one of our principles, you don't let a guy penetrate against the zone. Can't beat you off the dribble, so you got to be better at that. We lost Deshaun Thomas the time when he hit the shot. We didn't rotate properly on the other time. It's just we've not worked on it enough to be effective at it. But we went to it just trying to find a way to slow down Thomas in the game.
And if you keep the short rotation, does the zone allow you to do that to maybe?
We won't keep the short rotation, but a zone can allow you to not have to rotate as much. Someone's in foul trouble, you're able to get by a little bit because you're in the zone.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, coaches.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Ian.